Hey everybody, welcome back to Tuesdays, which means it is the Grains of Truth Day. Now unfortunately, two of our cast can't quite make it today. They're feeling a bit under the weather, so we have a special one-shot for you today with an all-elf party, which Rachel suggested we should call Elf Care, and I was on board for, and Angela was on board for, but Jason vetoed it because he is no fun. But let's go around our cast and crew to see who we are, and oh my god, that's just straight from Encounter Roleplay. I've memorized the script. I'm so sorry, Will, I've plagiarized you. So first up we have our GM, who is the wonderful Jason.
Yes, hello everyone. It's just Jason Please on Twitter, and it's just Jason in real life. Yeah, happy to be here, happy to be back, and so happy to introduce and probably kill these very good characters that you've come up with, given that, you know, we're going to be playing around in the world of the Scoia'tael, which anybody who knows The Witcher, it's not a fun world. However, at the top of the whole shindig, just a couple of plugs on my end. Mondays, you can catch me on Encounter Roleplay, the stream we have just plagiarized, as Incinerant Vasily Taltos in the Warhammer 40k game Inquisitor. In addition to that, on Thursdays, you can catch me over on Pro Restarter's channel, running a Blue Rose campaign, having very much a good time over there. In addition to that, Pro has just recently started a GoFundMe that I'm trying to get the word out on. So go ahead and, you know, send some love, send some money if you can. In addition to that, I'm friends with a whole boatload of artists, and given a recent tweet, I just want to plug Susanna Grace and Telinier, the two lovely artists here, as well as why not the Nerdsmith Network for Angela. Just follow everybody that I follow, and if you don't, you're a bad person, I think is the main gist of it. I'd
like to put a hard veto on that.
That's
follow
fair.
Who you want to follow.
Follow who you want to follow, except the bad people. And you don't. If you have to ask, then you probably know on some level who the bad people are.
Oh my god, this is getting worse. Okay,
this is getting worse.
So let's move on.
Let's move on
to the wonderful Angela. Welcome, Angela.
Hi, thank you for having me. I am part of you can find me all the time on Nerdsmith. The Twitch channel is We Are Nerdsmith. I'm one of 16 players in a West Marches style campaign that runs Monday through Saturdays called Countless Heroes. You can find us all the time. We're almost constantly playing, and yeah, all sorts of stuff on the Nerdsmith Network, including a D&D and RPG talk show on Wednesday afternoons called Discover RPG, where we talk about a bunch of stuff. And I got to get you guys on there.
You sure do, yeah. So next up we have Rachel.
Hey, yes, I am Rachel at Talonir at Twitter, and yeah, I'm here, and that's great. And I also play these streamed game things you may have heard of. On Mondays, I play Vampire the Masquerade 5th edition on the Blood on the Thames channel, which is hilarious, and there's lots of heartbreaking stuff going on at the moment, and it's all the feels right now. It's great. And then on Fridays, I play Ryutama over on the Scoia'tael channel, which is an adorable JRPG-inspired tabletop game, which is really fun, and there might be a few spots left because it's a video game if you want to give it a go. And I do a lot of art, I think, sometimes. That happens occasionally. All of that stuff is on my Twitter. And yeah, just super psyched to be an elf with very little self-preservation this evening, because I know we're all going to die anyway.
Yes. Sweet.
Question?
This is the most feel-good we've been all week, huh?
And as for me, I'm Susie, otherwise known as Susanna Grace. You are right here on my channel. We run a weekly D&D game on Mondays at 8 p.m. GMT, which is 5 p.m. EST, which is other time zones, which I don't know, which is a 5e homebrew campaign, which I play a strunk barbarian lady. Unfortunately, we have had to put off the past 2 episodes because of player illnesses, but we should be back soon for the 50th episode, so tune in for that. every other Tuesday, you're here for Grains of Truth. You're here for that now. So, every other Wednesday, we have another 5e game, D&D, Bike Club, which is Curse of Strahd. And it looks like we're actually postponing that to next week because one of the players that was supposed to be here today, Jamie, is having his face fall off because he's poorly. So, Jamie, stop it. Get better soon. On Thursdays, I am on Encounter Roleplay, DMing the viewer game Once Upon a Time, which is at 10 p.m. GMT, 5 p.m. EST, and that is Brooklyn Nine-Nine meets Shrek, meets Mean Girls, and a mess.
Done.
It's so fun. They're the worst police in the entire world. I've never seen a more incompetent police force. It is incredible to watch happen. On Fridays, I am also on Encounter Roleplay for Act on Cthulhu, which is the 2D20 version of Act on Cthulhu by Modiphius Games, in which I am a player in that. I play Elsie Braithwaite, the Northern Lass, the Grease Monkey, with her faithful companion, Sherman, the Iron Corgi Tetley. And then on Sundays, we have The Lost Girls, which is at 8 p.m. GMT, 3 p.m. EST, and that is a cipher system game about vampires in the 80s. Rachel was on it this week, and she was very good, and we did a big tasty murder of a werewolf man, and it was great.
I was so proud of all of you.
Big tasty murder. Wow.
He tasted delicious. So yeah, you should tune in for that. I play a trash child.
Don't we all?
And I think besides that, you can catch up with any shows on this channel on our YouTube, which I'll put in the chat in a little second. But I'm going to stop talking now because I realize I've been talking for a long time. I'm going to hand it over to our GM, Jason, who's going to get this show started. Go ahead, Jason.
All right, sure. I mean, I can do that, or we can just hang out for a little bit if you want your characters to live for that 1 or 2 minutes more.
Jason, kill us.
It's
Damn
a
it,
one
Jason.
shot anyway.
The game should have been called Dead Elves Walking.
Yeah, but then it wouldn't have been in Elder Speech. Wait,
You could have translated it.
Yeah, do a
Yeah.
translation.
can I translate that?
Call yourself a GM?
Doesn't even speak
Where's-
actual Elvish.
Here's the dictionary, Jason. Come on.
Look, if I knew Welsh, I would, but sorry, Elder Speech. All right. So I guess we're done dunking on me, and I can get on with the show. Yeah.
And you can dunk on us.
Yeah.
I mean, if you don't mind. I mean, just trying to help here.
I don't know. Sure.
Adirn, a land of madness and despair. The black-clads, so voluminous in number and strength, have taken to setting alight all that stands between them and the prize of the north, Novigrad. Yet, in the chaos and confusion, many have escaped the inferno. Your lot, for instance. Squirrels who have scurried away into the woods. Ah, the Scoia'tael. Once proud warriors of that distant haven of Dol Blathana, now reduced to mad raiders and bandits with no home to speak of. But this was to be expected. After all, the elder folk always knew that the world was destined to end in ice and pain. Yet it comes not from the wild hunt and the white frost, but bitter winter and human steel. You and your company steal for yourselves another day from the jaws of the beast known as humanity. Vernosiel, your leader, a slight woman of dark hair and darker disposition, calls your squadron to a halt as the sun flees from the sky once more. Though low in spirit, the long march north beckons you onward. Rumor and speculation amidst the younger of the camp abounds. But those more seasoned know preparations must be made before the morrow. As night falls and your campfire dims, The sparse accommodations made here seem almost a luxury nowadays. The embers cast a glow on each of your faces in turn, its warmth long gone, for fear that perhaps a scout or a wandering eye might settle upon it. As such, Susanna, who do we see amidst the black forests of Temeria, worn from war and travel?
Okay, we see Dalen. She is a tall elven woman with dark hair that's pulled back from her face with a braid and the rest cascading down over her shoulders. She's cleaning a long elvish blade, and she's got a tired but very sort of alert look about her as she's cleaning this blade. It's like very care and practice, but she's very aware of what's going on around her.
All right. Well, since you've made it so clear, then, I'd like you to roll for awareness.
Awareness. Okay. That is a 17.
17. All right. Scanning your eyes across the camp, sparse though it may be, for a collection of Scoia'tael, there are a considerable amount of you. This was somewhat bolstered by the fact that another dwarf, claiming to be an ally of the Scoia'tael and proving himself so far to be as such, by the name of Osmond, since joined, along with his gaggle of freedom fighters, butchers. War blurs the lines, and at this point it's just nice to have another sword at your side and not in your back. That being said, there seems to be certain tensions that arise between Vernociel and the more stout figure, as they seem to bicker within their tent. Not as grand as the rest. You get the sense that Vernociel made it a point to give the grunts a little bit more comfort, where it could be afforded, of course. But still, you clean your blade diligently, and the chatter amongst you all continues. Moving from Dalen, our eyes scan to another figure. Angela, who do we see in the soft glow of the dying fire?
You see Srosa, who is a very demure. She kind of keeps herself a little smaller than the others, and she has like a dark braid down one side, and her head is shaved a little bit, and there's slight tattoos under where the hair is growing back, and she is focusing on fletching some arrows. She's just sort of working on the feather work on a new arrow, and she has a substantial collection on her hip, because she just sort of does that as it's both a nervous habit and something to keep her busy, but also clearly of use to the group. So she'll always sort of be the person that someone can holler for.
Very, very nice. Actually, given that we already had a roll with awareness, and now we see that you are crafting, go ahead and roll me a crafting check just to see how well you make these.
How good it's going. That's a 16.
16. All right. Diligence in this case overpowers the sense of dread that nibbles away at the edges of your mind. Indeed, winter has brought hardship, but in the work of creating these burrowers, you lose yourself almost. It's good to know that even with all that surrounds you, there is still time for a bit of attention to be paid to your armament. In fact, as you reach for a stick, there's a little bit of resistance. Seems that your four-legged companion is giving you a bit of a hard time in the process of making this. Indeed, what is their name again?
It's Kif.
Kif. Kif is acting a little rowdy, but it's a wild dog that you tamed. It's not exactly to be unexpected. But again, teeth clench around the shaft of the arrow that you had just hewn, and sort of wrestle against your hand.
I think she budgets for losing 1 or 2 a day, so this can be 1.
This will be number 1.
Yes.
All right, and it's the evening, so who knows? As Kif gives you a little bit of trouble as you make these burrowing arrows, the trademark almost of the Scoia'tael, we circle around the fire once more and find ourselves settling our focus, settling our sights on a new character. Rachel? Who do we see?
So, sitting at the edge of the fire with quite a long blade just kind of lying drawn in front of her. She has her knees tucked under as she's sitting, her eyes kind of closed. She looks like she's just dwelling in her own company at the moment. Is a very, very tall elven woman, very, very well muscled and kind of athletic in build, but kind of ignoring a lot of what's going on around her. And she's got this kind of tangled mess of kind of slate, dark greyish hair with a few white hairs kind of strewn in there. She doesn't particularly look old. It just looks like she's started to go grey early. And she's got some quite old now kind of paint just kind of dragged across her face. And she's dressed in slightly heavier, more protective clothes than probably quite a few people here. And she's just kind of sitting there, keeping herself to herself, not really engaging with anyone else at this time, almost in a meditative kind of way.
Sure. And as you see this more muscular figure, what was the name?
Nimue.
Nimue. As Nimue rests amongst you, especially with your 17 Dalen, you notice there are, amongst a few of the younger of the group, a few eyes and sideways glances that are cast towards Nimue. Indeed, your most recent interactions with the Havakar, those vultures of the battlefields, and suppliers of both armament and, supplication, seem to have favored Nimue above a few others. Both frustrating and perhaps engendering a bit of resentment. The fire dies finally. Cold ashes lie within the pit, and the call of wild beasts pesters you. Is there anything you would like to do further before you head for bed?
How open to other people paying him is Kif?
He's rambunctious, but he likes people.
I like to play with Kif before I go to bed.
He likes the attention.
That's good. That gives Rosa the opportunity to pass out any of the extra burrowing arrows that she has without him stealing them. So
okay, so how about Dalen and Strosa have a routine where Dalen has like this old leather belt that like Kif can bite and pull on, and they have like a tug of war, and it distracts him while Strosa can get the arrows out.
Yes, that works perfectly.
So
Sure,
I'm gonna
sure.
wrestle a dog.
Well, that'll be, given that that's I think there's an animal handling something. I would say that's just to be funny. Go ahead and roll me a wilderness survival check.
Do you know how
Can you
high
win
that
the
is
tug of war?
for Scoia'tael? Do you know how high that is?
I don't know. Why don't you roll it and we can find out?
What sort of what header does that come under?
Intelligence.
Intelligence.
So it's high if you've got good intelligence.
That's true.
I don't.
It's a 19.
Okay. Kif takes to it with enthusiasm and aplomb as his canines wrestle against the leather and pull against it, and sort of like he puts all his strength behind it. Obviously, you're used to this, so it's sort of like a friendly game. But you distract the poor wild dog as Rosa makes her way into camp and begins to pass out the arrows. Would you be passing these amidst the recruits? Would you be sort of purposeful, or would this be sort of like a, hey, arrows if you need them, kind of stick in the ground and...
It's a little bit of that, but she does make a point to hold off on some of the ones that she thinks came out the best for Dalen as thank you. That's the payment. Is she gets to play with the dog, but then she also gets maybe like a little cut off the top of her work.
Yeah, given that you can't exactly, given that none of you can exactly provide much of monetary worth in terms of crowns or orens or florins, favors like this are common. And indeed, a few of them, well, make a human perception check.
I'm actually not terrible. I could roll terrible, though. That'll balance it out. 15.
Yes, okay. Even with a 15, you noticed amidst some of the old guard who have been traveling with Vernosiel for a very, very long time. They seem to recognize the sort of hustle that you're pulling, that in exchange for your, Dalen's services, you give her the better arrows. They seem begrudgingly acceptful, and at least thankful to have yet another avenue at their disposal to dispose of Dwan.
Puppy sitting is always an option. If anybody wants them.
All right. Going around as you do, the camp itself is kind of spread out. The lines of connection between each tent is quite thin, such as the want of the Scoia'tael. Yet as you make your way out, you hear a sort of angry shouting emanate from one of the tents for but a microsecond. What languages do you speak?
Just common and elder speech.
All right, well, you wouldn't understand, unfortunately, as you see the dwarf Osmond adjourn from Vernosiel's tent and shout to one of his compatriots, a hooded figure, masked as well, who you've seen, but you don't quite know the name of this individual. But nevertheless, they depart from Vernosiel's company in a somewhat foul mood.
Rosa stays out of that.
Time to go away. So,
Yep.
Seeing this, keeping to yourself, you walk back to your tent, and I assume, at least, settle down for the evening.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Outside of this, is there anything Nimue or Dalen would wish to do?
I don't think so before sleep. I think she'll probably just retire fairly shortly.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, as each of you retires, it is a dreamless sleep, born from stress and madness and fatigue. Sleep has long since passed its luxurious possibilities. It is strictly now for literal biological function. Yet, even with the hardships, you rise once more. Peel back the hide of the Spartan accommodations and find that already some of your compatriots have begun to deconstruct the camp, stamp out the fires, scatter the ashes, and prepare for another day of travel. You hear the distant whinny of horses and feel an urgency arise.
Well, Dalen's kind of like, she doesn't have stuff. She sleeps in everything she owns, and her weapons are like next to her, so she's just like, let's go.
Yeah, Nimue's very similar. She doesn't have much in the way of personal possessions, so just gets ready to go as quick as she can and kind of watches everyone else as they prepare.
Rosa's pack is mostly work materials. She's just sort of constantly looking at the ground and picking things up and just sort of collecting because she needs that so frequently. So she's just sort of scrambling to get her stuff up. She's never very good at being prepared to go.
Absolutely. Indeed, as the day sort of continues on, and you see a couple of very brusque figures sort of approach your tent and shout at you, each in elder speech. "What the hell are you doing? Taking your sweet time?" One says very abruptly.
I'm sorry.
I just spin around and say, "Diable es."
He hisses at you almost. The figure beside him, hair shorn short and with similar paint to Nimue that sort of scrawls across his scalp. That's the arm of his compatriot and chastises him very quickly. "Right, we've no time. Apologies for the foul mood." He grabs at the top of your tent and hoists it over.
Mm-hmm.
With barely any resistance, it crumbles to the ground, and quickly they begin to undo the stakes and roll up the canvas that surrounds. Your bedrolls are still on the cold ground, but yeah.
Yeah, it'll take 2 seconds to roll one of those up. About 10. Where are we going?
North. Always north.
Anything more specific than that?
The one who had chastised you earlier, whose hair is sort of brownish in coloration, it's sort of drifting just past his forehead in a very ragged fashion, kind of blinks a couple of times. "And when has Vernosiel been known to share her plans?"
Whatever.
He rolls up your bedroll for you and tosses it very abruptly. Go ahead and just with that, that'll be a general reflex if you're trying to catch it.
Okay.
Or no, yeah, general reflex. Why not?
That's a 10.
It sort of like smacks into your shoulder and like rolls away from it like a couple of times over your shoulder. You kind of
I'll just stand there and look at him. Like with it.
he kind of just sucks his teeth and goes to roll the rest of the bedrolls to throw them at Srosa and Nimue in a very similar fashion.
Okay.
I guess I'll just try and catch it. Just not really interested in this tomfoolery.
All right. As you are prepared, Nimue, you are able to catch it very quickly.
Rosa's
Srosa.
not. She's like half in her other kit, trying to put it together.
Yeah, and indeed, Kif is kind of actually like pawing at your boots and like barking a couple of times. The more irritable of the two, and now recognizing him, his name is Yarden, or Yarden. He kind of barks at Kif in a very rough manner. Aye! Quite stupid, mangy mutt.
You are making more noise than the dog.
Yes.
Quietly under her breath, Dalen's like, kill. Get him, boy. Get him. Sick him.
We're not quite on that one yet.
We'll get him there. We'll get him there.
Erabor! You hear a very gruff voice shout as the bald one turns around. Dalen, you recognize this figure. All of you do at this point. Osmond begins to walk towards Erebor, accompanied by his bodyguard, still hood drawn forward and mask up. As he continues, he speaks in a very, very gruff sort of tone, almost as if he's recovering from like a punch to the throat or some sort of throat cold. Speaking very plainly. Van Osel told us to get on the road 10 minutes ago. What's the hold up? Erebor sort of looks to the tents, not only your own, which is currently being deconstructed and almost done, but the other two, where you see some of the younger recruits kind of crawling out and shaking their head. Go ask them what the problem is. Osmond flinches and marches past each of you, kind of gruffly passing through all of you. It's a very, very gruff environment you have placed yourselves in.
I think I'm just waiting. It's too early to deal with this shit.
There's more efficient ways to get people moving. You know? Make them aware? Maybe 10 minutes prior that the order was to leave the camp, rather than to dismantle their tents and scream at them for not taking orders that they don't know about?
Erebor looks to you. Yes, make them aware. How? Simply enter in and risk some jumpy bastard stabbing us in the back?
You go, hey, camp's moving. 10 minutes. And that's
Yes.
it.
If you wish to waste your time while the black-clads march on us, then that is your business.
What are you doing right now? Wasting time, getting your fucking knickers in a bunch because somebody hurt your pride.
He's currently rolling up the canvas of the tent and grits his teeth, kind of sighing and dragging it along as he's making his way now to the almost ready carts that you see in the distance.
Cool. We all ready to go?
Just take a breath.
Okay, good.
Srosa's latched onto her back or her pack. She's got her stuff all together. Just like, okay, I'm ready. Sorry.
All right. You hear angry dwarvish swearing as Osmond is currently getting in line some of the recruits, which actually now taking a second look at him, or look at them, are actually from his camp, so it's doubly embarrassing. It's a little unfortunate. However, each of you arise, each of you prepare yourselves for the day's travel as best you can. As you walk towards the carts, there is a sort of elderly, an elderly lady who is diligently stirring a pot with some like clay bowls nearby. It's very, very you'd call it food on a bad day, but it's sustenance at this point. It's a mash of nettles and weeds and like what leftover meat is still left within the camp. And so as they continue along, she scoops out a healthy handful of it into the clay plates and sort of tosses it out to each of you in turn.
I just nod and accept mine. Probably eaten worse.
Just drink as I walk.
Yeah.
Any of the things that she doesn't like, Srosa just sort of leans down slowly and
Yeah, Kif eats it heartily. Although it's only been, a short time of hard travel, you start to worry as you see Kif's ribs beginning to show through. It's not that the dog can't hunt, it's just that there's only so much that can be done. You are, however, actually go ahead and make this will be a intelligence check, we'll say deduction.
10.
10, okay. You're aware enough to know that at least a bit of the meat within this is dog, so you'd probably...
I don't give him those pieces.
Yeah, you don't know which bits of meat though, which is kind of like really frustrating.
Her giving him snacks slows down pretty quickly. Okay.
And indeed, as it slows down, Kif sort of like starts jumping and pawing at your side.
She'll try to carry him every so often if he jumps too much, or it's like, okay, buddy, just chill out.
Okay. After finishing the plate itself, you kind of pawn it off to a younger attendant male who's carrying what seems to be the dirty dishes of the group in a small crate that's sort of hoisted in his arms. They're scrawny and it's getting a little bit heavier, and you see this strain sort of come across his face. As you continue along, however, there is at least some good news. As each of you know, you are part of the cart that carries Vernociel, being one of the main sources of income, a Fletcher, and two of the, let's say, better warriors within this sorry bunch. So, as you continue along, Vernociel kind of kindly regards you and nods. Late start to the morning? She asks very sarcastically.
Dalen looks like she's just about to just start going off about this morning.
I hope that Iardain wasn't too much of a pain.
No, but the more people we travel with, the slower movement becomes.
You can usually thank Osmond for that. She sighs, and as another scout, female presenting this time, bow strapped across themselves and coming down from what seems to be a great height, almost as if she was they were amidst the trees, come over and whisper to Vernociel something very, very grim as you see this sort of color drain from her cheeks. She shouts to the rest of the group, "All right, everyone! 5 minutes and no longer! You're not on a cart. We leave you behind." She goes into the cart itself and holds out a hand to each of you.
I enter without any hesitation.
Yep, hop straight up.
All right.
Pull up Kif in my arms.
All right. She kind of gives Kif a little head scritch.
Well, she should.
All right. Taking the reins of the cart itself, you see the paint horses that you recently robbed kind of buck against her influence. She sort of draws them tight, and the 5 minutes sort of passes without consequence or real problem. At about that time, you notice that Osmond has been kind of rallying together his troops a little bit more sternly than you've seen him before. And as such, the carts begin to move, Vernacio kind of keeping them behind her so the train can be sort of orderly. Time passes, and you see the hooded figure drag himself into the cart with all of you and sit beside you, Sorosa, as he kind of warily stares out the back. His eyes almost searching for something, but you're not quite sure what. Osmond as well kind of bangs at the wheels of the cart and yells out to Vernacio, "Right! Let's get this show on the road." He struggles up the cart, which is more designed for humans and whatnot, but still plants himself at the back, shaking his head and breathing very heavily. With a hya and the crack of the reins, Vernacio's cart begins to move forward jarringly, almost dragging across the mud that was left, but finding purchase on the hardened ground. The cart train itself is moving behind you very diligently. Indeed, you see Erebor kind of driving the one immediately behind you, and a few others that are far within the wood. It's still dark enough to obfuscate your numbers, but not dark enough to feel safe. As you bundle and bungle along, is there anything that comes to mind or anything to be aware of?
While ever we're traveling, my bow is out.
All right.
Likewise, I think Nimwe's always able to unsheath her blade fairly quickly.
All right.
Srosa at least once tries to make small talk with the hooded bodyguard.
Sure,
Just
go
like-
ahead.
Bit of a nip in the weather we're having today, aren't we?
Fortunately, seen worse. He sort of grumbles. Fortunately, been in worse.
That's good. I'm glad for you.
Just go back to squishing the dog. He's like, really? Hoods are like, that's intimidating.
The figure actually sort of holds out his hand to Kif, and Kif actually sort of smells it and growls very lowly in a very distrustful or otherwise like angry sense. He kind of nips at the fingertips, and
Hey.
the figure quickly withdraws the hand.
Sorry about that.
To be expected.
Well, I'm working on commands. I know. It just takes a little while.
As I said, to be expected. Osmond looks to you, and before the man can reply, "Don't you know? Tezin's one of the most hated abominations in all the continent." He laughs.
I am pleased.
a friend. A no threat. That's good to hear. Aye. It's a common practice for your soldiers to just threaten others, especially when they are elder folk, and Scoia'tael to count. Vernocio, he sort of shouts forward.
When we travel with threatening strangers, it pays to be on your guard.
My archers have brought you more dogs than you've been able to catch in the last 3 weeks. We took down a boar for you as a sign of peace at the beginning of all this mess. Now we're a threat. Osmond, Tezin kind of intones, looking to him. All right, fine, if you want to tell him this. Shit, none of my concern. He angles his gaze out the window of this cart. Tezin looks to you, Dalen, and blinks a few times. You want to know what I am, Fine. He takes the mask down, and there's nothing wrong. And indeed, as he settles the hood upon his shoulders, there doesn't seem to be anything wrong. But I need you to make a deduction check. And anyone else, if you so desire.
Why not? Has he got golden eyes?
13.
Oh, wow. Well, I certainly don't know with a tasty 7.
And Srosa?
13.
Okay. For a moment, at least, Srosa and Dalen. Well, okay. All of you recognize, it's an elf. Nimue, your questioning ends there. Srosa and Dalen. There are inconsistencies. The features are not as sharp. The ears not as pointed. The hair more fair than some of the elder folk. Dalen only, given you got the highest score. You've heard rumors of half-elves. And you also know to fear them, given their usual disposition towards both humans and elves.
Mm-hmm.
To be of both worlds is no boon on the continent, and in fact, usually represents a threat, as resentment from both clans engenders a level of hatred that far exceeds some. But Tezin seems calm, as this wash of recognition comes over the shores of your mind.
Yeah, but Dalen's mean. she's in the Scoia'tael for a reason, man. She'll just kind of like spit. You brought a half-breed here?
I brought a half-breed who can kill. And I thought that was the whole point of it. Vernocio kind of turns back and looks to Tezin almost in horror. There's this similar aghast kind of stare that she has. Osmond, you did not mention this? For a reason. A well-founded reason, unfortunately. Don't worry. If you so desire, me and my crew, we can be out to your hair as soon as night falls.
At this point, Dalen has got the bow fully taut. Like, she's aiming at this guy and she's looking towards Halida for an order. Like, she's ready to pop this guy in the face.
Tezin stares you down, not unflinchingly.
Nimwe's just watching them both very carefully, just waiting.
Srosa looks concerned. She's not 100% on the whole murdering him right out bandwagon.
Doesn't seem to be a popular thing, but
She's also sitting right next to him as Dalen's he's got a bow aimed.
Very good shot. And he's about 3 feet away.
Tezzin grits his teeth, and you can see the teeth even seem to be a little wrong and crooked, at least in certain spots. Tell me, Dalen, you're no friend of Dwan, yes?
She spits on the ground.
That is a no.
I am no friend either. If that is not enough, then I shall do as my friend advises and leave before nightfall. Osmond at that point pipes up. Aye, but you won't be leaving alone. Zegrins know the meaning of sticking together.
What is it that one such as you actually wants?
Tezzin pauses. I do not have the luxury of thinking and reflecting upon what I desire. My fate is to be a monster in everyone's eyes. He casts a glare at Dalen.
Then what is your purpose for yourself? Why do anything?
If I am to be despised by all, I find it best to at least give those deserving a reason.
Tis as solid a reason as any.
Dalen say, I've heard lesser men say greater things. Venossiel.
Venossiel stares at Osmond very, very intently. Stand down, Dalen. She says in elder speech.
Mm-hmm. There's a moment where she's like, and the tension is there, and then she relaxes.
In that moment, she glares at you. We shall speak of this when we make camp, yes?
Yes.
Aye. When we make camp. Tezzin settles back, draws the mask over his face, and puts the hood back up. Looks to Kif, who sort of growls at him. Looks back to Srosa. As I said, to be expected.
Srosa sort of tugs at Kif to sit on the other side away from Tezzin, and she, like, if necessary, like, will scoot closer to Tezzin to give them a little distance.
Kif is grateful for it. As you pull, there's no resistance, and as you settle in between the two, Tezzin kind of stills himself, going almost into a trance state similar to Nimue. Continuing through the wood, you hear the crack of thunder or the crack of lightning and the boom of thunder. a mix of hail and water, rain, pelts at the carts and slows down your movements considerably. A whole new meaning is given to the word cold as the leaky roof of this cart provides little to no resistance to the pellets that pierce through and the water that trickles down. I'd like each of you to make an endurance check.
Okay. That would be a 20.
Oh,
18.
14.
14.
What about the body?
Shivering against the cold, each of you finds enough comfort to sate your biological need for warmth. Fortunately for Tezen, that's good enough. And for Osmond, that is not good enough. Osmond kind of receives the brunt of it, being closer to the exit of the cart, which still sort of lulls open as the lock to the door doesn't really latch properly. And indeed, he kind of, even with his demeanor, can't really hide the fact that he's poorly. He sort of descends further into the cart after a while and shakes himself off, kind of patting out his shock red hair. Tezen, in sort of a second-hand or a second nature way, uncloaks and wraps Osmond around it, kneeling beside him and speaking to him lowly in Dwarvish. Osmond shakes his head and punches his shoulder. And and indeed, at that point, I need you all to roll an awareness check.
All right. 15.
19.
9.
All right. That'll be great. Okay. So let's go here. Above the crack and boom of thunder, you hear horses wail. You hear screams and screeches as one of the carts seems to be pelted with all manner of armament. You hear vicious screeches as horse meets steel, basically, as arrows and bolts descend into its neck. They tumble beneath the cartwheels and crack horrifically. Before you can even react, ahead of you, you see a few unfortunate bits of fire have been started and thrown from all directions. Torches that are attempting to, at least, alight your path. The rain keeps it from catching fire completely, but some of them have grown a little bit cunning, and so begin to hoist the torches into the carts themselves. Indeed, as 3 such torches are hurled into your space. No, that one tumbles ridiculously, as well as that one. One begins to roll within the cart itself and smear a viscous sort of fluid within. The oil itself begins to mix with the water that is loosed on the floorboards and catch fire. Is there anything you would like to do?
Kick it out of there. We need to get this thing out of here.
I mean, it's already on fire, though.
Yeah, but we don't want it more on fire.
All right. Okay. So, if you are you going ahead to kick it out?
I feel like you're the strongest, so I trust you to kick it, and
All
I'll
right,
just start
cool.
like trying to douse these flames.
Let's do a rugby kick of the torch out of the carriage.
That'll be, let's see, rugby kick. That'll be...
Roll for rugby kick.
Roll for rugby kick. That'll be a general body, let's say.
Okay. 15.
15, okay. Stomping before your forward leg hits the oil, you kick the wooden torch out as best you can. Dalen, what are you doing?
Sorry, I was just thanking people for coming for the raid. Hi,
Hi, people!
Raiders have come just in time for an actual raid.
There you
Great
go.
job!
Perfect
Wow.
theming.
I'm gonna...
Thematically appropriate.
Well, now everyone's gonna know this is scripted now.
Yeah.
Oh, shoot. There's got to be like some spare cloth or something in here, right? Just some fabric at some point.
So you know that Nimue wears a really heavy fur cloak at all times, so you could technically grab that.
Could. I
There- there
will.
Don't clothesline her.
Risking death from ruining the cloak. I'm just going to try and put the flames out.
It's
Okay.
pretty heckin' thick.
That'll be a sleight of hand to get the coat off of Nimue as you are in a, let's say, panicked situation.
Okay.
Sure, let's say that.
Sure.
Yeah.
Panic who panics? I'm not panicking.
You're panicking.
You're a seasoned warrior. You can't panic now.
There's a 23. I ain't panicking, fam.
All right. So, undoing the knot expertly, you grab the cloak and lay it on top of the fire, attempting to smother it as best you can. That'll be wilderness survival once more.
Wilderness survival, let's go.
Nimue's biceps are revealed to the world.
Immediately just distracted.
Everyone gains inspiration.
That's a 17.
17, that's enough. Even with the oil trying to reignite between the dampness of the wood and the suffocating nature of this cloak, though it does burn somewhat brightly, you're able to smother the fire very, very quickly. However, at that exact moment, I need you to roll a, or actually, no, everyone in this cart, go ahead and roll a, this will be a writing check. Yeah.
Oh no.
Hey.
13.
18.
15.
15. Okay. Given that you are at the back of the cart closest to the exit, you almost feel the impact of the bump that you have just hit. It's terrible, almost. It flings you up for a moment, the flames briefly reigniting before slamming back down into the wooden cart itself. Nimue, with a 13, unfortunately, you sort of lose your balance and fall ridiculously across the floor, your head scraping across the inner workings of this cart, and indeed perilously close to, if you suffer another bump like that, being launched from the cart as it moves forward. Shrosa, that'll be that for Osmond, and that for Tessin. Each of them sort of huddle in the corner and hunker down as this ambush continues, and you similarly kind of take on the opposite side as Vernociel shouts orders in Elder speech. Left! Left! At that exact moment, you feel a terrible veering as the cart weaves ridiculously through the trees. I need each of you to roll dodge and escape rolls. The DC of which will be dependent.
16.
16, okay.
Okay. Let me see.
My girl ain't rolling very well.
Okay.
25.
25?
19.
I'm nothing if not good at getting out of things.
No shit. All right. At that exact moment, Nimue, you notice a arrow bury itself into the sort of stair that the cart is a few inches from your face. You lean back and dodge another bolt that comes through and sinks into the... with that roll, sinks into the wood between Tezen and Osmond. A volley of arrows pierces the thin canvas of this cart, shredding it, and as you sort of each dodge out of the way, you hear at last the battle cry of these raiders. Though thunder and cacophony reigns above each of you, you hear the faint sound of "For the lilies! Samaria forever!" It is angry. It is desperate. It is currently undoing the cart that unfortunately was left behind. You hear the screams of your compatriots sort of die down and simmer away as a great fire bursts from that cart. There are two carts behind you, each trying to keep up with Vernociel, who, as she drives, is perfectly fine, along with the two behind them, making their way through. Erebor seems to be kind of looking around, trying to just ignore what's going through all of this, and unfortunately, as he continues to ride, that's not going to be enough. Everybody make an awareness check.
Oh.
15.
22.
22. 10. Oh, wow. Okay, 15, 22, and 10, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, Dalen, you do not see, but Erebor kind of jumps out of the doorframe, out of view, and when he drifts back, you see the horses kind of veering sharply to the right. Srosa, Nimue, you notice at the base of his neck the bolt of a crossbow that has buried itself quite severely into it. With barely any time to register this, the third cart, the one behind his cart, swerves around ridiculously, and its driver, the young the young scout who had reported to Vernociel earlier, cracks the reins even more in even more of a panicked state. As you continue along, Vernociel keeps control of the cart and yells to each of you, "Fire! Fire if you can!"
Okay, let's take some pot shots.
All right. With the awareness rolls that you rolled, Nimue, you actually see on horseback there are a few individuals clothed in very ragged white and silver and blue gambesons and arms. They're kind of trying to trail you. You get the sense that a few of them have kind of splintered off to take care of Erebor's cart, which is now fled ridiculously, and three sort of gallop their way behind you.
All right. Well, I'll try and take a shot. I was reaching for the sword, but she resists and takes the bow instead, and is gonna try and fire.
All right. So, we'll say that this is out of initiative and just something. Okay, so roll a d10.
Okay. That's a 10.
All right. Add your dexterity.
8.
All right. So that's 18 plus your skill in archery.
That's 5, so 23.
Okay. And this is at about half range, so we'll take a -2 to that. So that's a medium attack. So that's 21, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. And this poor bandit scum shall be attempting to dodge out of the way. We'll see how good
Kind
that
of
goes.
leaning out of the door.
Yeah, kind of. As you lean out the door, you fire this burrower arrow, and the bandit, looking to it, eyes go wide. Oh no. Yeah, that's a fail on his part, so I have to roll again to subtract it. So that's 8. So -8. So that's a critical fail on his thing. So that's 5. That's his dexterity. +4. That's 9. -8. I believe I'm doing that correctly.
So much maths.
Yeah, that's a 1. So just thinking really hard for a second, I think a 23 beats a 1.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm
no
not
mathematician.
Sure. I'm no mathematician. Like I'm really trying to sort of work through the maths in my head, but I think that that's right. So go ahead and roll once more another d10 to see where you hit him.
Okay. That's a 7.
That is a 7, and that means you hit him right in the right leg. So go ahead and roll for damage.
Okay, is damage with a bow...
Damage with a bow.
Is it 4d6 or something?
I believe so, yes.
Okay.
Let me check just in case so that I don't cheat you out on any dice. Oh, yep, it's 46.
Oh, that's a total of 14 damage.
14 damage halved because it's in the right leg, and that's 7, leaving him... leaving him not dead, but definitely hurting as he sort of clutches at his leg and howls in pain. The other 2 riders are sort of unperturbed by this as he kind of slows down.
I duck back in before I kind of get the next arrow.
All right. So, at that point, anybody wishing to enter the combat will have to roll for actual initiative, which this is great. This is wonderful. This is... All right. So... Uh-huh. Right. So, everybody... All right. Everybody roll a dexterity check, generally. I think that's how that goes.
18.
Okay, 18.
14.
14.
15.
18, 14, and 15. All right. So, gonna have to roll for the bandits here in a second, but let me just make sure that I'm getting this all correct, because, hoo boy. Roll initiative. Oh, excuse me, not dexterity, your reflex.
Oh, in that case,
Oh.
20.
Same thing.
Okay. Okay.
Oh, it's 1 less, so 13. Oh.
Oh no. Not as impressive.
Oops.
Oh no.
It's alright, I'm only minorly injured.
Only mildly injured. So the 2 bandits that are still riding ahead, they got a score of 10. So I believe they go last. So, just put in the group chat what everybody got, and we'll go from there. All right, so 13 there, 15 there, and what was it, 20? Ah, yes. So, given that you already went and whatnot, we'll say that that was the first round.
Yeah.
At that point, I would like you, Srosa, go ahead and tell me what you're going to do as combat begins.
She's gonna take a cue from Nimue and yeah, take a shot out the back.
All right. Clambering to your feet and getting the arrow notched and drawn, you fire, and let's see how it goes. So, 1d10, por favor.
4 on the die. That's going to be a 21.
So 1d10 plus your dexterity plus your skill in archery, I suppose this would be.
Mhm.
You're firing a bow, so I guess that would be archery.
Yeah, 21 total.
21. All right. Just going to try the same dodge action that other poor guy did. Doesn't fail this one. So that's... All right, let's see here. 9 on the dice plus that plus that. So 18 you rolled what?
I have 21 total.
Oh, just hits. All right, so roll another d10 to see where you hit him, and we'll get to see how much damage you do.
That is a 9.
That is a 9, so that would be, I think, it's one of the legs, I want to say. Yes, the left leg. Guys, you're just going past, just going for the
kneecapping
leg.
this guy.
Yeah, kneecapping these poor bandits. How dare you? All right.
They used to be adventurers like us.
All right. So, the arrow sinks into his left leg. Go ahead and roll for damage. 4d6.
Ooh, okay, that's 16.
16. Okay, have that. So that's 8. Ooh, boy, yeah. Yeah, he's really going to be hobbling. So, 8. Actually, above his stun score, he's going to have to make a stun save, I believe. Oh, no. In similar fashion, this... you notice that the... what is it called? The arrow. That's what it is. Sinks into the left calf and sort of skewers it almost. It's not a pretty sight. And he sort of like grits his teeth and veers off to the side. At that point, we go to the next one in initiative, unless there's anything else you wish to do, Srosa.
No, that was it.
Dalen.
Cool. I'm going to shoot him. Hey.
All right.
Kind of figured that one.
Yeah, what a surprise.
No, you're not gonna negotiate.
No, yeah, she doesn't negotiate. She's gonna pop out the back and she's gonna scream death to Dwayne as she shoots this guy. She's that bitch. Let's go. That is 16 plus archery is 24.
Okay, so this guy comes barreling towards you all, face roughly structured and beating with sweat and grit and just terribleness. 7 plus that. So that's 17. So, yeah. Do you want to hit anywhere specifically?
It's head. Well,
His head.
sink right between his eyes.
Okay, well, that's a -6 to the roll. So, what did you get?
24. So that will bring it
24
to
minus 6. 18.
18.
Oh, that is just enough. And yeah, he's not armored on his head. So, yeah, so go ahead and roll those 46 and then triple the damage.
I gotta say about that.
Okay, let's go.
Dalen, you took them out too quickly. Where's the fun?
The fun is clearly hitting them. That's the fun.
Okay, so I rolled 16. Triple that.
Okay. I'm just gonna make this very simple.
She grabbed a burrowing arrow accidentally.
Yeah, actually. This isn't even necessary. Yeah, guess what? As you aim for the head very judiciously, kind of aiming down sights, you loose the bolt, or loose the arrow itself. In this seething hatred, suddenly falls to still stony silence as the bolt sinks into the the forehead, and past like the back of it. Like, you don't see it until he falls over, but there's a little bit of like just gristle and like fluid that leaks out as he's just lifelessly bouncing upon the horse itself.
Yes, Dalen!
Oh, she's looking so proud of herself.
Well done! You hear as the next cart kind of veers alongside the other two bandits that were skewered in the leg, and you hear a retaliatory volley of arrows being loosed. Thunder claps, and the horses actually, you see them actually aiming at the horses instead of the people. They collapse with the, well, actually, just to be fair. Yep.
Give the horses a dodge.
Okay, well, I'll give them one. Yeah, no, they don't do it. So excuse me. The one of the horses goes down in the first volley. The other is sort of hobbled spectacularly. The last human is not really concerned with all of you and instead dives off his still living horse, scrambling away. As I need another reflex save from everyone.
Woohoo! Oh, wait, that was a D6. What the hell am I doing? That is reflex 18.
All right,
14.
18.
12.
All right. Or not a reflex save. It's something different. It's a specific skill. I want to make sure.
Dodge, escape.
Riding. Yes, because you're in a cart. Riding.
Still 18.
17 now.
14.
Hey! Luckily, as this next bump comes forward, Vernocio more than adeptly keeps control of the cart, continuing along as the shouts and jeers of the humans pelt after you. You seem to have escaped the ambush with, all things considered, a somewhat positive spin on things, considering you've only lost 2 cards, and God knows how many
And the guy we didn't
supplies.
like. It's fine.
And the guy you didn't like, you just got skewered in the neck, but it's war. Yeah, it happens. As you continue along, you try so desperately to collect everything in the cart, which has gone haywire and is being currently pelted with hail and rain and just not a fun time. Indeed, Nimue, as you put on the coat, there's like a distinct singed smell to the fur. And the oil itself kind of clings to it, mixes with the water.
There's been worse on this cloak.
I'm sure it has. It's just not exactly like the best. Like, and plus it's wet as well. It's a very, very, very awkward and just not very good sensory experience
I
as you
just stubbornly keep it on.
Yeah, stubbornly so.
It's a look. You can't not wear it.
Sure, yeah. So Tezen sort of looks out and scans on the carnage that lay behind and reports back to Vernocio. 2 cards overturned. Don't see any survivors. But that does not mean that there are none. Vernasiel kind of sneers. Yes, it does. We ride now. And cracks the reins once more as the storm thickens and pelts you all ruthlessly. With that, having narrowly escaped the raiders' snare, we'll take a break.
Go make some hot cocoa from the cold.
Be back in a minute, folks.
Back in a minute.
And we're back. Thank you for bearing with us during that short break.
During that show.
That
Thank you for
show.
bearing with us during that show.
During that she said. Eh?
Yeah, I hope you got up, had a stretch, went to the bathroom, got a drink, whatever you needed to do. Make sure you did get up and stretch though, because that's very important. You shouldn't sit. Do you know what?
Just don't.
And
Just don't.
Just writing
stop.
this one off.
Okay.
I'm just
Jason, elf-care.
Jason,
Okay.
take the wheel.
Elf-care.
Elf care.
Practice elf-care.
Practice elf care.
That includes not setting their tents on fire.
Yes.
Or their wagons on fire.
Okay, I'm
We
okay.
have to get all the puns out while we can.
There's no
Yeah,
puns
well,
in The Witcher.
Well, it's still somewhat happy. All right.
Sorry, we'll get more depressed.
As well you should. How dare you? So,
Wait, let me just get my fringe ready.
Your fringe or your French?
you're.
Emo fringe engaged.
Hey, two can play that game.
Je m'appelle Imo. I don't know.
Should we just get back to playing before we drive the entire audience away?
No, let's keep going.
I'd like to remind you of what happened last time with all of the ass jokes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's part of the
Your
course.
viewers went through the roof.
Yes. Absolutely. The humor was astounding. Having just survived an ambush from the remnants of the Temerian army, what regiment or what squadron or whoever the bastards were, unknown to you, there still remains a rainstorm of exceptional intensity and ferocity that plagues each of you. There is little to no protection offered anymore. The canvas is waterlogged and it is waterlogged in the places where it is not shredded or lightly burned. As such, Vernasiel continues in sort of a somber manner, not attempting to even try to assess the damage until such time as you are out of this place. I'd like each of you to make a wilderness survival check.
I can do that.
Ooh. Goodness.
Actually, it's not that bad. 11.
Okay.
22.
Okay.
Dang.
So that is a 15.
15. Okay. Each of you knows as you sort of continue along from Adirn that the climb of the north is at its base harsh and unforgiving. In winter, it is even more so, unfortunately. Indeed, as you continue along to the north, you know it will be another solid day's ride before you could even be considered to be close to your final destination, Velen. As such, there is still this kind of harsh dread that abounds. The scout, whose name you recall being I swear this is coming right off the top of my head. Definitely not looking at a generator.
No.
Yes, Sheetha. Oop. Or Shetha. Drives their cart alongside and undoes their mask very judiciously. Vernasiel speaks plainly in elder speech. All of you understand. Ride non-stop until the rain lightens. Then ride for an hour more. Stop to eat then. Forage and hunt for what we can. Sheetha nods and clicks her tongue as all of the horses continue onward. I need you all to roll a human perception check.
Oh, that comes under empathy.
What is this?
Oh no, that falls under empathy.
Ugh,
Oh god.
That's a 10.
it's better than a 4.
That's a 20.
Oh, strokes are
You're
so
the
nice.
good ones.
I'm the nice one.
Galen Nimue, you notice nothing. You accept the realities of the situation. Vernasio will handle it fine. Sarasa, being more attentive, we shall say, denotes that Vernasio used to be very warm, caring person. Someone who you would often talk to as whenever you fletched or whenever Kif was being a nuisance around camp. You see a seething hatred grow into a fire. One that is fed well and burns brightly. Vernasio is not taking the loss of your compatriots with much ease. Tezin and Osmond seem to be concerned with their own affairs as each speaks to the other in Dwarvish, kind of avoiding your eye contact with all of you.
Yeah.
Through that whole attack, what was Tezin doing? Did he do anything?
Coward like a rat.
Make an awareness check.
Jeez.
What does awareness come under? That is intelligence.
Yeah.
Or awareness or deduction, whichever you want.
I mean, they're both intelligence skills.
Have fun.
Go ahead.
That's a 15.
Okay. Either or. Taking a look on the side of the cart that, the corner of the cart that they are both on, you notice that, actually, as you are, sort of riding along, your eyes scan across that side of the cart, and you see that there's a distinct lack of arrows. There are still crossbow bolts that are buried within the wood, but the arrows themselves, ignoring my phone for all intents and purposes, which has decided to ring so rudely, you get the sense that Tezin was, shall we say, using the bounty provided by the enemy, tearing the arrows from the cart and then firing them back.
All right, just so long as he was doing something.
And actually, indeed, as you look, there is one that sticks from his from below his ribs. He ignores it and simply attends to Osmond and kind of doesn't double over, but pause at it every now and then.
Just sort of shrug, disregard it.
A sort of level of tension persists as... Yep. And... Yep. Oh, Lord. As you continue along, Vernasio is able to keep the horses well under control. However, Sheeta, unfortunately, their horses are a little bit more unruly, and pretty soon they grind and stomp to a halt, kind of pawing at the ground no further. Vernosiel, seeing this, stops the cart rather abruptly, throwing each of you off balance. Turns back and speaks to Sheeta, trying to figure out what has happened. Sheeta shrugs. They won't move. They sense something. Vernosiel casts her eyes to the forest, shivers in anger, and looks up to the sky in almost rage or weariness. It's hard to tell. Then we eat here and move whenever they feel able, she says through clenched teeth, and departs from the cart.
Should we send out a scouting party for whatever it is they seem to sense?
Thank you for volunteering, she spits and goes to the other cart.
My pleasure. Well, you two coming?
Oh, all right.
We might find some meat for Kif
And for us.
and for us.
Sure.
It would not be wonderful. Osmond kind of grumbles to himself.
I just saw like glare at Osmond. Don't like him.
Strosa walks Kif over to Vernosiel.
The leader?
Yeah,
Vernosiel, yes.
yeah, and just sort of nudges him towards her.
Kif whines and kind of like paws at your feet, trying to say, no, I want to go with you.
No, she snaps and like basically points at Vernosiel's feet.
Wilderness survival.
Ooh. 21.
Okay, yeah, no.
Sit, boy.
And Kif listens, sort of planting his hindquarters down on the mud-soaked ground. Vernosiel looks to you and blinks a few times.
Strosa doesn't muster any words for her, but is very sad-eyed at her, but just sort of puts an arm on her shoulder.
Make a persuasion check.
Too familiar with the superior officer? Okay. Yeah, that could happen.
Please don't get backhanded.
14.
The expression doesn't change. And it's hard to see the tears mixed with the rain. You don't notice it, but you let her be. She kneels down to sort of pet at Kif and shoots back up, trying to get the rest of the cart in order.
Come on, we don't want another ambush.
Coming.
All right.
Before we stalk off into the woodland to see whatever this is, I'm just gonna reach down into the dirt and just sort of like camera paint myself a bit so I'm not as like white.
Yeah, I think I probably refresh mine.
Wilderness survival. Just
This is not a makeup test.
no.
Oh, 20.
This is not grooming. This is specifically the opposite.
What'd you get? What'd you get?
24. Why is it I always roll crits when I'm trying to do makeup or change the appearance of my characters?
Hey, on the
So-
plus side, it looks really badass.
So Dalen makes like a smoky eye out of some
That's what I'm hearing, yeah.
Sarissa just has a bandana that goes over her hair, and she just does that to keep her hair out of her face. That's what she
Okay.
She's already a little dirty, so it's whatever.
Oh, do the Furiosa thing with the oil and the soot that's on the cloak.
Oh,
Nice.
Sure, of course. Why not? All right. So, continuing forward into the woods themselves, you kind of freshly readied for camouflage and the like. You kind of get the sense that these woods are a little bit less hospitable than normal. The rain lightens just ever so slightly. There's no longer threat of hail, but it soaks you through to the bone. And I'd like everyone to make an endurance check, as this is about probably the second hour of rain that you had to endure.
17.
17, okay.
1 second.
23. I am really loving this test.
There's a 17 too for me.
Okay. Unless somebody rolled under a 14, perfectly fine. There doesn't seem to be anything that's bothering you, at least physically. You haven't been able to process the emotions, so I guess nothing's bothering you emotionally either.
I have no emotion.
Yeah, what emotions?
Oh, I
Yeah.
just swallow them.
We are
Oh, no.
war.
Just take whatever bad feeling you have and shove it down into a hole until it stops moving.
I convert all of my bad feelings into scritches. It works.
Yep. Continuing along, you hear, well, not but the sounds of the wilderness surround you. It's a cacophony that persists even beyond your sort of field of perception. Is there anything any of you would like to specifically look for or be cognizant of?
I think it's more of a general awareness, trying to look for anything that could have spooked or be influencing the horses.
So awareness for you and whatever y'all want.
Yeah, I want to be looking for like animal tracks or monster tracks, anything that would give away, like claw marks, anything that would give away that there are monsters or animals here.
That would be wilderness survival.
I rolled an 18 on awareness.
All right. Sorosa, is there anything you wish to do?
She's just sort of like checking their six every few seconds.
Okay. Go ahead and roll another awareness check.
That's an 18 from me.
So 2 18s. Can we make it 3?
And a 19, so yes.
Oh, how dare you?
I'm sorry.
You broke the streak. We had a
Sorry.
streak. We had a theme. All right. Nimue, scanning your eyes towards the black woods of this forest, it takes a while for you to sort of adjust and settle with the fact that you really can't see anything and hearing is very limited, but you do indeed hear specifically the pained sounds of wolves and some other animal. You can't exactly make out that, but there is what seems to be a pack of wolves that is persisting somewhere.
When you say pained, do you say it as if it's just the usual kind of plaintive wolf howl, or is there something wrong with it?
That would have to be a a separate deduction check.
Oh, okay.
Moving to Dalen with your wilderness survival. Around the area that you inhabit, there's just really not a lot of information you can glean, even with that 18. It's muddy, it's smeared, although you do see a few wolf tracks that seem to be a little bit more fresh. Outside of that, there's really just a lot of movements that's registered, and yet actually, as you do glean one bit of information. As you sort of see around you, this clearing itself provides what could conceivably be a pretty good campground. And indeed, as you sort of peer across, even though they are washed away, the slick of oil still persists in this area. You get the sense that your assailants might have made camp here. They have since, obviously, departed. But who knows how long they've had eyes on you, or who knows if you were even their intended target. Questions abound, more questions than there are answers, unfortunately. With a 19, Sorosa. Peering back, you do see sort of the general outline of the caravans, or of the caravan itself. And though it is dim, you notice firelight of some sort, emanating this sort of orange and reddish hue from far, far away, even past the caravans. What did you roll for deduction, Nimue?
17.
It sounds like a struggle. It doesn't seem out of the ordinary. And actually, as you begin to listen very closely, you sort of distinguish between the two. You distinguish between the wolves and the dogs, which howl. Seems that perhaps a pack of feral dogs ran afoul of their larger cousins, and subsequently are having a bit of a scrap.
This is strange. There seem to be wolves and dogs ahead in some sort of kerfuffle.
We could let them sort themselves out, and
It doesn't seem to be something which would upset our horses.
Or we can let them fight, mop up the aftermath, and have a nice dinner.
yeah.
This is true. Do we want to be within visual range? Or wait here?
We should.
Wait till the growling stops.
As long as we know where they are, we can track them.
Each of you make an awareness check.
Uh-oh.
19.
Mm-mm-mm. Oh.
Oh.
16.
16. Okay.
18.
18, okay. All right, so 16, 18, and what was it?
19.
19, okay. As you sort of cast your eyes around and attune to the wolves and dogs once more, you hear a sort of yelping emanating from that distant group. And indeed, as you sort of scan your eyes across the terrain, you notice that amidst the storm, there's a low fog that crawls across the floor, slowly but surely. Indeed, after about a minute or so, the howls become frightened, yelping, and fearful. After about another minute or two, you hear the hasty retreat of whoever survived. And the low growls of something far more terrible.
Let's go fight it.
Let's go find out what it is first.
Yeah, there's enough of us left behind to put us in more danger now. Careful.
If this thing comes to the camp, then it's trouble. If we can take it out before it can get to our camp, then it's gonna look good for us.
If we can kill it, then this could be a safe place to make camp. And we can all share a decent meal, perhaps.
All right.
All right.
Creep forwards to try and see what it is, I guess.
Oh, sure. Why don't you? Why don't y'all? Why don't y'all just roll me some stealth checks? Why not? You know.
There.
You're a loose cannon.
21.
Play by your own rules.
17.
Okay, well, let's see here. Nope. All right. That's interesting. As you duck down and sort of crouch along the forest floor, obviously arrows and bows at the ready, the air suddenly becomes thick with this fog, and there is a low temperature that clings. You thought you felt cold in the beginning. It has since steadily dropped. You hear nothing.
Creep forward, trying to keep myself kind of covered by the dark cloak.
Okay.
I think
As
she
each
probably
of
has
you-
her sword drawn as well.
Sure. As each of you stalk forward, Nimue sort of sheathing the bow in order to bring out your sword. There's this low sense of, well, it's hard to tell and feel, but this entire area seems altered, almost unnatural. You continue along, press forward, and into, or not really a clearing, but like an open area that's somewhat more open than the rest. And you see amidst this, amidst this gnarly collection of wood and root and sleet covered ground, you notice a figure which lurches horrendously over a corpse, a dog corpse. It gnashes its teeth upon the meat of this dead dog, and salivates horrifically. You see its claws tear into the flesh and begin feasting even more.
Is it humanoid?
It's human-esque-ish, maybe. A little bit. Sort of. I'd like you to roll monster lore.
So much of that. That's a tasty 10.
We're experts.
It is humanoid. It stands on 2 legs, or at least seems to. But it's not a human. Oh, no, it's not human.
Glance at the other two, like, in an are we doing this kind of way?
You get a very enthusiastic nod from Dalen.
Get a very quiet, wide-eyed face from Strosa behind Dalen.
You hear the cracking of bones and the drinking of marrow as this creature continues to feast. I'd like each of you to make an awareness check.
There's 3 more. That is a 19.
That's a 10.
21.
Okay. No, wait, a 10 total or... Oh, a 10 total.
Oh, no.
Oh, it's a 10 total, you say.
Look.
It's okay, we got your back.
Yeah, sure.
She's blinded by bloodlust. She can't...
So, as you continue along, you're... Okay, Dalen, you give this affirmative nod of like, yeah, we're fucking doing this. And then see, actually, as 2 more forms seem to appear from the mist randomly and scratch at the one that is hungrily feasting. They sort of shove him out of the way and begin to gnaw and gnash upon it themselves as well.
So we've got a better look at these things now.
The others have a better look.
Oh. Well, yeah. I'm like, yeah.
You as you sort of like, enthusiastically, as you nod, there's a little bit of the mud that kind of cascades into your eye. So it's kind of not, it stings a little bit, which, not exactly the best. But Nimue, Strosa, what was that each of you got?
21.
21 and a 19. You seeing it more clearly, there's like a gaunt sort of grayish face that stares blankly at its surroundings for each of these monsters. The claws are long and the limbs are lithe and terrifying and terrible. But they seem to sort of be in the process of feasting rather than concerning themselves with their surroundings. The one that was shoved out of the way begins to sort of whip his head back and forth, kind of twitching every now and then. I will say, Srosa, since you got over 20, you do hear another noise far removed from this scene of a loud and sort of animalistic yell. It's not at all like pleasant.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems to be coming in the direction, or from the direction that the wolves had sort of fled to.
We can't fight a demon, let alone 3. That's madness.
Everyone make a monster lore check. Just because I
Oh, Oh, that was good.
Ooh.
It's still only 16 though.
That's a 4. That's why she called them demons.
Okay.
I've gone from a 4 now to a 16, so I'm like, hold on a moment.
Yes. Yes, and Nimue now knows what these are. It took a minute for you to find the words. But you remember reading somewhere in the scattered tomes of a Dwan scholar that you had helped assist in raiding. If night ever catches you in the swamps, stay put and wait for dawn, even if it means standing waist deep in water with leeches crawling down your trousers. Most important of all, if you see a light in the fog, never, and I mean never, go towards it. Johannes Strud, Guide. It was difficult to see for a moment, but indeed you see lights sort of softly emanate from these beings, allowing you to access the knowledge that, yes, while fog is indeed the traveler's foe, that is only because of what resides within. The foglet. These creatures have powerful arms and claws like tigers, yet what makes them truly dangerous is their mastery of deception, beguilement, and disorientation. Many times they need not attack at all, instead simply driving their prey to madness or into boggy marshlands, after which they wait patiently for it to drown in the muddy waters.
So I think she looks at the other two, and then... What kind of trees are surrounding this open area? Are they very scalable?
It'd have to be a check, but you could conceivably maybe climb a little, probably, hopefully, depending on what you roll.
So for now, I was going to point at them all and go...
Soros is the only one like, nope, fuck this, get out, leave, demons. All right.
And then I point at each of us and then at each of them as if to say, each one focus on one, and maybe just go as if to like, come on, stealth. I'm trying to think how to sign ambush. Without going...
isn't that just the default for us?
Like,
we're fighting, it's an ambush, okay.
Without
ambush,
going
of course.
self and then point at a bush, but I don't think either of you would get it.
She'd be like, now is not the time.
Just hide.
John Cena?
And I think as she says that, she'll probably withdraw a bit into the shadows or behind some cover.
Okay.
Nothing, okay.
Stealth checks again.
Let's go.
The last one was good enough, but will this? 19?
Okay.
16?
25.
Oh, stealthy, babe.
25. Okay. All right. So that's a 19, a 25, and a what? A what? You kind of went robot there for... Oh, nope.
Uh-oh.
Oh, no.
It was a 16.
It was a
I think-
16.
I remember,
16.
yeah, I heard the first time.
Okay, that's definitely...
Oh, she's
It's
back.
bad time to freeze. Oh, thank
You're
goodness.
back. You're back.
Nope.
16. You're... Nope. And no.
Soros is frozen with fear.
Okay, hang on. Let's just try to get things going here. All right. Well, until such time as Rosa comes back. Oh,
My internet is blinking.
Oh no, it blinked.
Oh,
It's not the best.
Uh-oh.
Got a red light of doom on it.
Uh-oh.
No.
I might need to restart it.
Yep,
Okay,
that's
no
okay.
worries.
It's a good dramatic time.
All right. I can sort of see you, kind of, maybe. All right. As that is being sorted out, we'll say that it's difficult for each of you to kind of keep your nerves. Unfortunately, Srosa especially.
Uh-oh.
As you sort of step along the heavily muddied ground, you sort of actually step into a nearby puddle, causing a disturbance that unfortunately is noticed, but given the nature of the weather that surrounds you, it's hard to pin down for the foglet that did notice, the one that was shoved aside off of the carcass. It steps in your direction and sort of weaves in and out of the fog, peering out. You hear its teeth chatter, and it scratches at itself, despite almost in a sort of second nature manner.
Keep really still.
Do you say that?
I'm hoping it's implied.
Strosa knows to,
Okay.
From the shadows, Dalen is like, shut up. Stop it.
But yeah, she'll stay low and stay as quiet as she can.
Srosa specifically, make another stealth check.
Okay.
Have the other two, have we withdrawn behind anything?
Yes, you have. I'll say that. There are two trees that you have sort of hidden behind.
That's an 18. That was better.
Okay, we'll see how that goes.
Slightly better.
I must say, Srosa, you are very, very lucky.
Yay.
As the foglet
I am
sort of-
actually. It says so on my sheet. This works
Okay.
well.
So the foglet kind of peers out, blank eyes, surrounded by this very deep brow, kind of casting a shadow over it. It breathlessly sort of peers out and then skulks back a few steps. The fog around you intensifies, but withdraws ever so slightly, even though it permeates the ground.
Very quietly, draw an arrow.
Same. I'm
Nock
gonna
an arrow.
do that in unison with Dalen.
I'm slightly slower and slightly behind them in terms of doing that.
Okay. So let's see how that goes. Are you firing the arrows?
I think we're just readying so we can take a really good shot without being seen. At least I am.
Yep.
Sniping.
Okay. So, as such, I will say this, because this didn't come up in the last combat, because, well, shall we say different circumstances. You can, with a bow specifically, take what is called a strong attack, or a strong strike. A strong strike allows you to make one huge attack at a -3 to your roll, but it does double damage. You basically draw your bow to full draw and fire.
Would you say we're in a fairly close range? Because these guys are just in the clearing.
Yes, given the nature of the clearing and the nature of this glade. That's the word that I was looking for. Given the nature of this glade, we'll say that y'all are definitely in close range, so you take no penalty. If you would like, Sarosa, if you want to test your luck a little bit more, I will say if you want to really, really, really get testy, you can go for a point blank range shot, but you would have to make an additional stealth roll to crawl forward to get within about half a meter from the foglet that just turned its back.
Sure. So there are both narrative and mechanical reasons that I'm not going to do that.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it's a +5 to your roll. I mean,
my fragile little elf child will not be doing that.
Okay.
Yeah, we should be swapped around. It should be the elf beef child who should be in that position.
Yeah.
Do you want to switch? We can switch. It's fine.
I don't know that spell. I'm sorry.
I mean, come on. You could roll another round of stealth checks. It'd be great.
I'm good.
We could also not and snipe from our good position that we've got.
I think I turn to Dalen and just do like a countdown, but like mouthing it.
Yeah.
Okay, so is there one that you're particularly focusing on, or is it going to be like just the one that you can see?
Well, we've all picked a target each, right? So we're all going to focus on one.
Yeah, we're each going to focus on our own beast.
Okay, so is there anything you would like to sort of aim for? Anything you would like to aim for on the sort of body of this monster?
I think Dalen has a thing for shooting things in the head, so I do a headshot.
Okay, that's a -6. If you're doing a strong attack, that's a -9 overall.
Ooh. Okay, no. Just gonna shoot.
I'm just gonna shoot and see where I hit. I'm gonna leave that up to the dice.
Yeah,
Okay.
let's just do that. Yeah, I'm not gonna call a shot on this.
Okay, but
yeah.
Is everybody making this a strong attack, or?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, why not?
Okay, and given your stealth rolls, I'll say that they can take no defensive actions, so this will be purely against their what is it called? Armor?
Come on, Dicey, don't let me down.
Come on, my friend. Oh, that was good.
Crit!
Oh, you beauty.
So I roll it again, right? Because it's exploding
yes, you
dice.
roll it again. Yes, and then you
Okay,
add
I rolled a total of 21.
I rolled a total of 20.
And then -3, so 18, I guess.
18. Okay, so
20 after the -3.
20
Mine's
after the minus.
25 after the -3.
Whew.
Okay, wow.
Hey,
I should have done the headshot. Dang it!
Scoia'tael or die, man.
I offered, you know?
I know.
You know. All right.
Death to the Doyen and Foglets, apparently.
And foglets, apparently.
Can you eat foglets?
Let's find out.
Only foglet legs.
So, each of you, let's loose the arrows that you've all knocked, and this is against all three, right? One for each.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, everybody roll a d10 to see where y'all hit them.
That's an 8 again.
Okay.
A 1.
A 2.
Well, Susie,
Mhm.
I must congratulate you.
What?
Defying fate, you rolled a 1 and got a headshot.
Hey!
It was meant to be.
It was meant to be. Sarosa, what did you roll?
2.
That's in the torso, so that is just a straight damage, straight hit point damage. And now for Nimue, you rolled an 8, you said?
Yes.
The left limb. Unfortunately, that is half damage.
Dang it.
However, since that was a strong attack, that technically cancels it out, because if you multiply something by 2 and then have it, you just get 1, right?
Yeah.
Yes. So, haha. So just roll the damage die and tell me what you got.
Okay, so for my shot, what do I get with a?
With a since this is a strong attack, let me see. You double the damage if it's a strong attack. It's a 4d6 for the what is it called?
For the longbow?
Yes. And I have to see by how much you beat the defense of this creature. So
I got a 13.
Okay, so 13. You got a 23. You get a simple critical on this creature. So go ahead and roll what you... go ahead and roll for damage. 4d6. And then you get 3 damage on top of that and cause, I think that's Disfiguring Scar. Not that
nice.
it much matters.
I'm gonna say he's pretty ugly already, I bet.
Yeah, I'll say this. Okay. Going down the line. Nimue, what did you get for damage again?
13.
13. Okay. So 13, just a straight roll because you had it halved and then didn't. But now we have it again because it's not silver damage. And so that's a 6. So the left arm of this, the spidery-like left arm of this foglet is pierced horrifically. It yells in pain in a manner most horrific and stares at it in amazement and kind of confusion, blinks back into the fog, and the arrow rattles to the ground. It blinks back out again and tries to see where the arrow came from. Srosa.
I rolled 15 on the die.
Okay, 15 on the die. You hit it in the torso. So we double this damage and then have it again because it's not silver. So a straight 15. Mm-hmm. Yeah, wow. Okay, that would be a stun save, I think, for this guy. Ooh, Lord. It sinks into the gullet of the one that was feasting over the wolf carcass. And horrendously, you see a bit of like bile and blood dribble from the mouth of this creature in between jagged teeth. And it similarly kind of like stumbles back into the fog. Dalen?
Okay, I got a 16 on the die.
16 on the die, plus 3 because it's a simple critical.
Mm-hmm.
So that's 19. Then you multiply the damage by 3 because it was the head. Or no, wait a minute. This is even wrong at the start. You get 19 times 2 because it's a strong attack.
Yep,
38.
That's 38.
Times 3 because it was a headshot.
It's 114.
Divided by 2.
That's 57.
That's quite a lot of damage.
That's quite a lot of damage.
You keep finding those explosive arrows that
Yes, indeed. It's good that you took care of Kif because apparently this burrower arrow was just meant to be planted in the skull of a foglet. With zeal and aplomb, you release the arrow. It's the rope, or not the rope. The what is that thing called? The string, bashing against your wrist a little bit more roughly than you had anticipated, but the arrow itself sinks into the eye of this creature. It sort of blinks around it or tries to, before like falling to the ground limp, pushing the arrow fully through. Yeah, it's Mare Brutal. At that point, I'd like you all to roll initiative, por favor.
Dylan really likes arrow exits.
Is it just dexterity roll initiative? Can't remember what you said it was.
1d10 plus reflex.
Oh, reflex. Yes.
15.
19.
Put it in chat.
Yeah.
Yes, sirree.
Okay. I think if I've got my math correct, that plus that equals not enough. Okay, so that will be. Tell me, what is your dexterity, Dalen?
It is 8. No,
8.
7, sorry.
7? Okay. Roll a 1d10 for me.
6.
Yeah, unfortunately, the foglets supersede you in initiative order. They have literally they have a dexterity of 7. I rolled a 14, so it was like just a straight opposed. I'm sorry. However, Nimue, what do you do as you see the two foglets kind of preparing for battle against you?
Okay, so Nimue is going to drop her bow and instead draw her curved elven sword and is going to rush the nearest one with a strike, and she's going to try and slash deep into the torso.
Deep into the torso. Okay, so this is a
I
minus...
assume that's not quite as hard as doing a face shot?
That's not quite as hard, but it is full damage. So since this is a called shot, you get a -3 to the roll because it's towards the torso. And with it being a... Are you making it a strong strike once more, or are you just sort of...
Probably just a strike if I'm calling the shot.
Strike. All right, so that'll be a -3 to the roll itself.
Okay. That is a 7 plus 16. 23.
Okay, with that, the foglet will try to dodge. It will fail, probably. Okay, so that's that. That. Yeah, no, it doesn't. So even though it tries to sink back into the fog, your blade is just that bit quicker and slices across the stomach of this emaciated creature. Go ahead and roll for damage.
Okay.
And this will be a straight roll because it's a torso shot.
18. 23.
23?
Yeah, because her sword is 5d6, not 4d6.
Oh, wow. Okay, so, yeah, 23, divide by 2, which that would be...
11, I guess, rounding down?
11 rounding down, yeah. And this was the one that you just hit, which you did...
Minimal damage.
Minimal damage, but like it. That, so, okay. Looking at that. Okay, so he does still stand. But as you sort of rake your sword across the gullet of this creature, it howls in pain and stumbles forward a little bit closer to you, reaching out its claws angrily.
Bring it, bitch!
With that, we go to Srosa.
Srosa's still keeping her distance, but she's going to take a shot at the one she got before.
Okay.
Her foglet. Ooh, that's a 9 plus... He has 27.
Okay, 27. Well, yep, no, that's not gonna do it there, Boyle. That hits. Go ahead and roll for area, since you didn't call it out.
That's 10.
So I think that's one of the legs of the creature. I want to say the left leg.
Okay.
So that's half damage.
So 15 total.
15 total, so halved 2 times. So 15 halved to 7, 7 halved to 4. Or 3. So, yeah. Drawing your bow once more, you fire a less judicious shot into the leg of this creature. It kind of hobbles a little bit before locking eyes with you. As such, yes, as such, it will collapse into the fog and begin to rush you. I need to know what you're going to do for, I believe, a defensive action. So, what are you going to do? Leap or dodge or...
Yeah, I'm going to dodge. I'm going to, leap the fuck back. Just
Okay.
Oh, crap.
Yep. 1d10. Mother. Okay. It's not good. So, 2 plus that, I think, plus... Yeah, that's not good at all. That's really not good. Lord, okay. This will be a 12 against your dodge roll.
16.
16. Not a 12. 2 plus that is that. Plus... Oh, no. It's not a 12. It's worse. It's a 7.
Oh, jeez. Yes, 16.
All right, so it swings wide and kind of falls on one knee, locking eyes with you and yelling very, very angrily. The second foglet engages with you, Nimue.
Mm-hmm.
I swear I roll higher than a 2 sometimes.
Oh, no.
Okay, so that's 2 plus that's 7 plus that's 3, so that's 10. So, do you want to try to...
Yeah, is there like a parry action if you're wielding a blade?
Yes, there is indeed a parry action if you're wielding a blade. I will have to check just to make sure that I...
Sorry, this is my ignorance biting me here.
No worries, no worries. So... Ranges, DC, blah, 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 blah. Parry action. Aim, take a recovery, cast magic, use a skill to do something. I know there is a parry action, so go ahead and roll 1d10.
Yeah, would it be with I'll just roll the... That's a 3.
Okay, so... RPG. Alright. So. We'll go ahead and make it associated with body and brawling.
Okay.
Or a parry roll, I guess. Is parry a skill?
I don't think it's actually
swordsmanship.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll make it a swordsmanship check.
Cool. Then with a 3, it's a total of 19, if that's including reflex.
Yeah, guess what? 19 is higher than 10, so this similarly sort of swings wide and like growls at you, haggard breath kind of emanating this terrible smoke and fog. Now we come to Dalen.
I'm shooting. Is there any that look like pretty wounded?
The one that seems the most wounded is currently engaged in combat with, what? Oh gosh, Nimue. I will say, since they're engaged in close combat, this will be a pretty difficult roll, and you'd have to make a called shot of some sort. Not necessarily the head, but
the called shot is not Nimue.
Yeah, basically.
I'll go the other one.
Okay, so
Don't want to accidentally shoot Nimue.
with the way that the foglet is oriented in relation to Srosa, I will say that yes, you can totally do that. No called shot required. Go ahead.
Okay. Oh. Okay, that is a very low roll. 17.
All right, since its back is turned to you, because yeah, that also matters. It can't. I believe it cannot make a defensive roll against you, considering especially that you were stealthed. So, I'll just go ahead and say that hits. So go ahead.
Sweet.
And roll for location of the hit.
A 4.
4. Okay, that is the torso, just barely on the torso.
Okay, that is 14.
14. Okay, so 14 half to 7. The arrow itself sinks into the back of this creature, and it howls in pain, almost doubling over. It's looking ragged, but it kind of has that wild sense about it. At this point, at the top of the round, I'd like everyone to roll an awareness check.
Yikers.
That's 19.
18. 13.
19, 18, 13. Okay. Sorosa, Nimue, each of you notice that there seems to be a sort of loud cracking motion or a loud cracking noise that is coming towards y'all, like at a thundering pace. You can't exactly tell what it is in all the confusion, but it's headed your way, whatever it is.
I think I'd probably just yell, "Something's coming!"
All right. You get the message out. Dalen, you hear the message clear. Mm-hmm. No worries. Top of the round. Nimue.
All right, I'm gonna try and finish this if I can, and have another good swing at the foglet that I am engaged with.
Okay.
That is 9 plus 16. 25? I'm sorry, it's late. Math is hard.
Yeah, that's okay. 25. Oh, no. So 25. Oop, oop. So 25. 18 plus. Dang, still. Okay. Even though it is a little bit more adept at reading you, it's just your sword barely clips it somewhere. So go ahead and roll for where exactly?
4?
That's in the torso. So, man, you're just hacking away. All right, go ahead and roll for damage.
This is the thing she's got. She's got this. Okay. 6. Shit. 11, 14, 15, 19.
Okay, yeah, have that to 8. Even then, yeah, that's gonna be it. Lunging forward as best you can, you sink your falchion into the chest of this creature and twist a horrific curve, kind of tearing through the flesh itself, and the foglet falls limp against your sword.
Kick it off my sword with my boot.
It falls to the ground with a wet thud. The fog itself is getting a little thinner, and you notice the change in temperature begin to shift. Sorosa, what are you doing?
Sorosa has another arrow and notches it and is just like backing up, trying to hit the.
As this is a close, like point blank shot, I will say you can make this with a +5 to your roll.
Nice.
So would you like to try to make this a headshot?
Yes, I would. Why not?
All right, so that's a
Fortune favors.
-1. -1 to the roll.
I'd take a picture if I could. That's a 10. So that's a 27.
Why do I help you?
Hey, I haven't rolled any crits yet.
That's a 27 total, but it's a crit.
Yeah, okay. Even having the damage, I'll say that makes quick work of this particular.
Well,
foglet.
when the thing just opens a mouth, I mean, that's a pretty good target, you know?
Yeah. So 27 times 3. That's how
No,
much?
sorry, that was my hit. Sorry.
Oh, that was your to hit. Go ahead and
Yeah.
roll for damage. Why not? Because guess what? 27 hits.
13.
13 times 3. That's 39. Halved to something.
Hang on, I got a calculator. Let's
Rounding
go.
down, it's 14.
No, 39.
39.
Which is almost 40, which is almost 20, which is 19.
Sorry, 19. Yeah.
19.
Sorry, Mr.
See? Cheated yourself out of 5 whole points.
Hey.
Wouldn't have made a difference, but following the tradition that has been established with
Face
Jalen, with face shots, indeed you see the terrible menagerie of teeth open wide as this toothy maw kind of like lunges towards you, and you just plant the arrow at the base of its skull. It sort of chokes on it, and as it tries to convulse against it, it actually sort of constricts to the point where the arrow is lodged, and it falls back, kind of clawing at its neck, dead within a matter of seconds.
Yes, we're a fucking squad.
As combat draws to a close, there is still the thundering which approaches you.
Okay, I'm just gonna melt right back, try and hide, and I hope the others do the same.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to head for. Are you guys in the trees?
Yeah.
Or are you down?
Behind trees and bushes, I think.
I'm in the
Yeah.
trees.
I'm gonna get out of the grassy area. I'm gonna get out of the clearing and.
All right, so if y'all are trying to scale the trees, it's wilderness survival. If you're just trying to hide, go for stealth.
Yeah, just trying to hide.
I'm just gonna try hide. Ugh, I keep losing my dice.
Oh, 23. Wilderness survival. Get me in that tree.
Oh, you're a climby gal.
I'm gone.
I got a total of 14 for stealthing.
I got
All
I got 18 for stealth thing.
Okay. So 18 and 24 for stealth, and then, yeah, Dalen, with ease, you climb up the tree. And as you sort of perch upon a branch, bow at the ready, I'm assuming, go ahead and roll for awareness.
18.
18. Okay. A lumbering form is kind of crashing through the trees and sort of not really yelling anything, but kind of yelling something madly. It's like saying nonsense words. And as it sort of bursts upon the scene, Srosa and Nimue, I'd like you both to roll. Actually, everyone roll monster lore check.
Oh, that means it's a monster, guys.
Oh gosh.
Well, that's 9.
Where are you?
It's like a 6.
It's like a 6.
We don't know what things are. We just kill them.
Big ol' 8.
We're so
Wow.
good at this.
We don't know. Yeah, we don't know what they are. They just point us at them.
Nimue?
Mine was a 9.
Oh my god!
So
DC was 10!
oh no, Jason. I mean, think about it this way: you don't have to read the description. It's just a thing.
Oh, but he does it so well.
I know he does.
The DC was 10, and this was for commoners' knowledge. Anyway.
Oh, we're very special.
We don't hang out with commoners.
Indeed.
They don't like us.
I ain't no nerd.
Okay. As this lumbering form bursts onto the scene, each of you is uniquely terrified as you see the sort of rocky maw of this creature kind of huff and puff, and a column of stone kind of emerging from its back. It horrendously sort of shouts and looks around, like almost ready for a fight, and then kind of stills. Stinky fog. Hurt, tough back. It sort of punches at the ground and punches at its head, and goes over to the corpse of one of the foglets and kind of picks it up, kind of looking at it ridiculously. Like just kind of manipulating its body in strange ways. Is there anything anyone would like to do?
Keeping very, very quiet.
Yeah, Daly would be very quiet, but Susie's like, troll son.
It's very, very quiet. It's frog season.
Tough. It sniffs the air sort of judiciously.
Is he smart enough to see all the arrows in them?
It actually picks out.
This is why you don't use arrows.
It picks out one of the arrows from the one who fell face first and like looks at it. Licks it a couple of times.
Oh, don't do that.
He sort of looks to the forest, like scanning the... I'd like you to roll a stealth check, please.
Oh no. Oh dear. This is bad because that was in fact a 14.
18 for me.
Okay, let's see if the rock troll is smart. I
20.
wouldn't bet on it.
21.
21.
Damn, Rosa.
I do not want to be found.
Neither do I, but then I'm wearing chainmail, so...
There you go.
7 plus that plus... Okay. Awareness is intelligence, right?
Yeah.
Please.
Anybody roll beneath a 17?
That would be me, with a 14.
Okay. It sort of looks around confusedly before actually settling eyes on you. Its eyes are sort of wild and blinking, and its skin is kind of a peachy flesh tone marred by like bits of gray and blue hues. It just sort of stares at you, lockjawed and kind of like...
Protect him.
You! Your ear! And he sort of pulls at what would be his ear. It doesn't have ears, but... You! In shady folk. You shady folk, yes? You kill... And it punches the corpse of the foglet.
Oh.
Kind of smashing it a little bit. Make a persuasion check.
I have the most persuasive nods, considering I have a 3 in empathy and nothing in persuasion.
Oh my god.
Oh, and I rolled a 2, so that's 5.
Luckily, this troll is not very smart, so I'll say that it's kind of like A to B in its thinking. It's like, okay, this one's here. There are arrows here. This one must have killed this. You do this? You do this yourself? Shady folk? Shady don't talk? And he sort of like leans in a little bit.
Not much.
Shade, tongue, not good?
No?
It's okay. Not good with words.
It sort of like tries to think, but then becomes really sad when it sees the butchered dog corpse. And it goes over to it and picks it up. Sort of starts crying a little bit.
Strosa just involuntarily is like, oh.
It sort of looks up and blinks. More shady folk? More shady folk? For tough to thank?
Yeah, Dalen is just like, hi.
It looks up. It kind of motions to the corpse and like tries holding it.
Hi. Shady folk is friend. What's your name?
Make a persuasion check.
Please do better than me.
Please do better.
Okay, let's look at that empathy.
We can tell Jason doesn't want to hurt us with his lovely troll.
So hey, my empathy is a 3.
It's better than mine.
But I did get a 9.
Okay, so a 9 plus 3, that's 12. You not do this? And he holds up the dog, kind of like in one hand, he kind of flails around.
Oh my.
I try not to retch as this corpse is. Fog. Fog creatures did it.
Fog. Stinky fogs.
Yeah.
Tough up and back. We had to take care of wolves. Shady folk, help. Tough. Shady folk like soup? It blinks a couple of times.
Like what?
Like soup. Did you say soup?
Yes, soup.
Soup. It sort of motions like a bowl.
Yes.
Are there nettles in the soup?
Net. Trolls no eat net. Why eat net? Net for to catch. Net not for eat.
Good point.
Excellent point. Yes, you're right.
But net.
Soup sounds good.
Fog soup. Fog from fog soup.
Fog. Fog.
It picks up the foglet and kind of like, in spite of its own strength, it kind of like tears the corpse in half.
Can we have head? As in pointing towards, can we like have one of the heads to when we go back?
Make a persuasion check.
I'm sitting here neat and pretty with a double-digit persuasion, and y'all are doing the talking.
Well, that's a 6.
This is the best person. No, get the rolls out. This is the best person to do it.
And it sort of looks at the head of this creature, kind of like, alas, poor Yorick, I knew thee. Or I knew him, Horatio.
I feel like alas is too many syllables for this guy.
Oh, yeah, it is. And it just sort of unceremoniously hands you the head.
Thank you. Tie it to my belt.
Hey, Tough. Sorry, hi, it's me again. Do you live close?
Live cave, not far.
Okay.
Tough home, warm.
Have you seen any humans here? Not shady folk.
He sort of like pounds the ground with his fist. Stinky. Bring oil.
Mm-hmm.
Bring fire. Bring bad. And it starts punching the ground like angrily.
Yeah, bad. And I punch a tree.
Ow.
Shit.
We're with you. We're
Shady.
with you on that.
Shady folk.
Mm-hmm.
Shady folk no like you me. Yes?
We do not.
No, Humie.
Bring. Good shady. Shady folk good enough for tough. Real. And it sort of like burps almost. Like you get the sense that he just ate or in the process of eating.
It's in the process.
Hmm.
It's an active digestion process.
Yeah.
Man.
It blinks a few times.
Strosa starts climbing down from the tree.
Yeah, I'll get down from the tree by now.
Warm. The cave. Looking at the other two as well.
Cold here.
Mm-hmm.
Cold here
Yeah.
since
Very cold.
Yes.
had horses, mental horses, bad mental, bad, cold, very cold.
Like
Days.
a wagon.
And he shakes his head. No. Not shady folk, not hum. Something scary. Its voice kind of trembles. They gone. Humans came. No shady folk.
How
He
much?
sort of motions to you.
How much would we know about the NL?
Monster lore from everybody, please.
I'm so
That's a
good.
7.
That's a little better than normal. With a 12.
Ooh,
I rolled
boy.
a 9. That's 13.
Okay, so that's a 13. And what did you roll, Strosa?
12.
12.
Oh, sorry. I blanked and just said something.
Oh, God.
That wasn't me. That was, yeah.
Yeah,
I was-
Strosa got a 7.
So Strosa got a 7. I'll say the tails elude you at the minute, Strosa, given the
It's
past, like, couple of
Yeah.
minutes. But you do know there are whispers on the wind of the wild hunt that march through this region. 'Tis not safe wherever they tarry, but they seem to be gone, and if Tough is to be believed, they at least left enough behind for him to survive in a cave not too far from here.
Okay. But Dalen is just like pale.
Tough. Would you be willing to let our people and we were the humans attacked us and we're looking for shelter. Do you think we could stay in your cave for a time to recover?
Big boomy crash. Big boomy
Fire.
crash.
Fire.
Make a persuasion check.
Oh, thank God, the double-digit persuasion is out.
Oh, my God. Take the reins.
20.
He sort of like charges to you and like looks you in the eye. Yeah, the smell is repugnant and pungent. Shady folk hurt. Tough help by shady folk. Shady folk get through.
That sounds good.
Big shady folk, or small like you.
I'm a little smaller than most.
Big shady folk.
she sort of like looks at she looks at the other two and are like that size.
Big shady folk eat lot. Fog and wolf soup. Fog and wolf soup. It sort of like bubbles at the mouth and kind of begins to gather the corpses under its arm.
Maybe you could. How should we do this?
So-
he waits here.
One of us should dash back.
Yeah. Who's the fastest out of all of us?
Probably not me.
I have a speed of a run speed of 24.
Oh, you're
That's
faster than
faster.
me.
Yeah. You.
All right.
Anyway, go.
Will you wait here or leave some sort of trail so I can find where you've gone?
And it rips off the legs of one of the foglets and
That's
like
not-
begins to like paint the ground as it sort of walks.
That works.
Ooh,
Yeah, we'll figure something out. You'll find it.
Right. I will retrieve the others and return to this place.
Oh.
Thank you again. See you soon.
Mm.
be
And I will-
fast and convincing.
Take the foglet ahead with you.
Oh, I've got it. Don't worry.
Don't lose head. Good for soup.
Won't lose it. And I dash off.
And Tough kind of stares at both of you.
I have a dog.
A dog who's incredibly bright.
I'm
Shady folk have dog.
Mm.
Tough have dog. Have lots dog. Have one less dog. And it's sort of like pained looks over at dog corpse.
Strosa just looks at Denlin like, I don't know.
Just very awkwardly, like, pat him on his shoulder.
There.
That's rough, buddy.
It's sort of like tries to hold back the tears, but it's kind of blubbering despite itself. Mercifully, we cut back to camp as Nimue, you finally arrive, and what poor rations have been sort of administered. Kind of. The camp is not in high spirits. Osmond and Tezen are kind of with their crew, cross arms and like crossed purposes almost, kind of debating whether or not they should stay. And Vernaciel is kind of like, yeah, whatever, in her own corner of camp.
I would stride towards the leader. What's her name again?
Vernaciel.
It was Vernaciel. I think there was someone else I was getting confused with. I would seek her out, stride to her first. Present the head before I speak.
What's it?
A couple of the fresh recruits who've survived the raid kind of yelp and like stumble back.
Oh, grow up.
In elder speech, Vernaciel communicates. And what is that?
There were 3 of them. They have been dispatched. And it seems in so doing, we have found favor of a local troll of some description who is grateful for us dealing with this, has offered us warm shelter and food for this evening. It's an unorthodox method, I know, but we don't have much better right now.
A silence pervades across the group as Osmond is the first to speak. A bloody troll done what? That confusion persists for several hours.
He just says that every so often.
Yes, I'll introduce you to him if you like. Do you want to meet the troll? Or would you like to stay here?
A big fuck off troll.
Yes, a big fuck off troll, actually.
What? A spag.
Would you like wolf and froglet soup or not?
What? He's like terribly confused, and a couple of the recruits as well are kind of like looking around. Like Vernaciel holds up a fist and like motions them all to stop. Nimue? The offer is appreciated and will be accepted, provided that this troll proves himself no threat.
Oh, Sorosa is dealing with that. She has quite a way with beasts.
You hear... Actually, make an awareness check.
No.
That's 13.
You hear like a loud wail emanate from Tough as Sorosa and Dalen. He just sort of like breaks down into tears over the loss of his dog and like kind of like hangs his head, kind of beating it every once in a while.
Rosa spends a little time like taking the dog and like burying it.
Yeah. Oh my god, we'll have a little dog funeral for this
We
troll.
will. We'll let Tough say literally a few words. And
It's obnoxious and loud enough for the rest of the group to hear it.
He lost his dog.
It takes several minutes, but the group relents after much internal debate. And you are reunited once more with a strange bedfellow kind of pawing at a recently dug up mound of dirt, kind of sadly looking at it.
like the saddest little bouquet of swamp grass over it. Like,
Yeah, it's plus it's like gloomy already because of the weather. It's just, yeah.
But we have hot food and proper meat.
As you lead the group back, a couple of the recruits kind of like like draw their blades and.
I'd probably go, all right, put those away. Away.
Make an intimidation check.
Get him.
I'm sure she's good at that one.
I did take some points in this.
Good job.
Oh, there's the crit.
You got it. Good job.
Instinctively, they kind of like stop.
Be polite.
Tough kind of looks back. This shady folk.
Mm-hmm.
Shady folk need soup.
And a roof.
Need roof? You said you had dog. You have roof.
No, that's roof.
Yes.
Kind of like blinks confusedly.
Stressa like clicks with her tongue and is like calling Kif over.
Immediately the dog comes over and he's like
She picks up Kif so that there's some control over the situation.
yeah, because Kif is like barking and growling, but the troll doesn't mind.
And just introduces them.
And kind of turns its head awkwardly. Doesn't try to pet it, but as it kind of turns on its heel. Tough cave. Make trail. And it pulls at the foglet leg that it had. It's sort of lost some blood, so he puts it back and tears off another foglet leg and begins to drag it behind him as he walks. Vernosiel looks to all three of you very pointedly.
Hey, look, we defeated
Shelter.
the monsters. We found shelter.
You didn't specify a method.
She just walks forward, just blank, not even acknowledging any of you. Osmond kind of follows behind, along with Tezen. You follow the streaky trail of this poor troll as he leads you to a warm cave with warm rations housed within.
Warm, stinky rations.
Warm, stinky rations
Hey, food is food.
and warm company as the afternoon crests ever onward and another day passes on the continent. With that, mercifully, we'll go ahead and end the session.
Mercifully.
That was delightful.
Oh, that was so good. I love Witcher trolls so much. They are the best things in the world.
Also, guys, none of us even suffered damage.
Yeah. He's all like, oh, I'm going to kill you all. And none of us even, like, bumped our toes.
But this means that next session, when we actually return to the long-scale story, we're all gonna die.
And that's the end of my guesting. All right, great, guys. Have a good time.
One and done. No. You're marvelous to have aboard. We are so thankful.
Oh,
that
That was amazing.
yes, we're all of you able to watch. And I guess we'll cut to Susie for the outro.
All right. So buckle in, because I'm good at outros, famously. But thank you all so much for watching this special one-shot of Grains of Truth. We will be back in 2 weeks' time. So not next week, the week after, for the next session proper, because hopefully Jamie's face will be reattached after it fell off tragically in a horrible sneezing accident. If you want to catch up with any past, present, or future episodes of the various shows we have on this here channel, follow this handy dandy link in chat to go to our YouTube. There will actually be a brand new Grains of Truth episode uploaded tomorrow. So keep an eye out for that. That's last week's session. Is there anything else any of you guys want to say before we sign off for the night?
Check out Nerdsmith if you want to see any more of the stuff from the people that I work with. We're gonna have in 3-4 hours, we're gonna have our next episode of Countless Heroes, which I am on, so I have a very full schedule today.
Wow. I'm gonna go sleep.
That's a great idea.
All right, then. So before we go, we're going to just go throw over a raid over to our friends at Encounter Roleplay, who are currently playing Call of Cthulhu.
Hey.
So,
Awesome.
oh my god, if I can actually spell Encounter Roleplay.
I mean, I feel a little mad right now, so that feels very appropriate.
Right? let's continue this madness over Encounter Roleplay. And we will see you next time. Bye, folks.
Bye.
Bye.